The Cromwell Pole Award went to Carlo DiPreto for round 1 and Namimura for round 2. I kind of figured Mura would have contended for the pole. She's been pretty good on these road courses, but I'm pleasantly surprised to see Carlo DiPreto up there. You may remember that he struggled quite a bit when he first started driving these cars earlier in the season, and I believe that he's been struggling for most of his racing career. In fact, I recently read about his only victory in Italian touring cars, where he was the only car left on the track after the rest of the field suffered from mechanical failures. Well, I think DiPreto's shown that he could possibly be fast enough to win without the help of his rivals falling out. Now, moving on to the aftermath of the Sarabai 300, in which several drivers were handed penalties, mostly for that big stack-up that occurred under caution in round 2, but the biggest penalty was handed to Libby Bell. She was docked 50 points for running into Rybert Scott twice under caution. The possibility of those collisions being intentional were investigated, but officials turned up nothing. However, they will be keeping a very close eye on Libby Bell today. And the other big incident that got people's attention was Eric Jackson spinning Namimura into the path of Ben Atkins, coming back to a yellow flag. That earned Jackson a 25-point penalty, and both Atkins and Mura suggested that Jackson should watch for payback. But fortunately for Jackson, he is in round 1, while Mura and Atkins are in round 2 today. Now moving on to the topic of the Saitama Ken Race Track. The track is not a typical road course. The only thing that doesn't make it an oval is a very, very small right-hand bend at the end of the backstretch, and in fact, that right-hand bend is barely noticeable. Cars will be traveling in excess of 200 miles per hour in this area. There also used to be a giant hill on the left side of the track at the end of the backstretch. The promoters recently removed that hill after years of horrific incidents where cars would go flying off that hill and plunge into the wall on the other side of the track. We apologize for running long. Now on to the race itself. Carlo DiPreto is already facing a bit of pressure as the race starts. Ebenezer Quiggles Jr., the points leader, qualified on his outside. But DiPreto gets a very good start over Harry Asinola, who qualified in third. In fact, he already opens up a gap of about a couple of car lengths on the 45 car. Inola tries to make a move on Quiggles for second. Kyle Gaffigan, DiPreto's teammate, started in fourth behind Quiggles. Now coming into turn 3, it looks like Harry Inola can't make the move stick. Quiggles remains in second, while Gaffigan slides into third. Radomir Stanichev cannot complete the rest of the Japanese tour due to his Dash Cup commitments. So, filling in for Stanichev in the number 88 Rusado Sport car will be Lenore Scurry, the Hungarian driver. In fact, the 88 car is painted in the colors of the Hungarian flag this week. Scurry attempted last year's 150 laps of Dwyer, but she was disqualified from her qualifying race. But she is currently running in the top 10 in the opening laps, so hopefully she can make a much better impression today. Tyson Lautenschlager cut a tire during the pace laps, and it started to tear apart the fender, so Lautenschlager lost the lap as the number 4 crew was repairing the car. Kyle Gaffigan makes a bid for second place against Ebenezer Quiggles Jr., and he will take it before turn 3, in which the inside line is rather slick, so that makes it an MRD Motorsports 1-2 in the opening laps. Kyle Gaffigan, we believe, may be fired by MRD at the end of the season, but Atsuro Technologies, which is based right here in Japan, has gone on record as saying that they will support Gaffigan wherever he goes. Gaffigan drove for the Atsuro factory team in Formula Overdrive last year. Shinji Tanaka is currently in 6th place behind Seiju Dezhou, two of the hometown heroes. Tanaka had a very impressive run for Star Team Nomoto at Twin Ring and Motegi last week, but it just seemed like that he threw away the lead whenever he got it. Well, much of Tanaka's career has been a bit of a struggle, and there is a lot of pressure that comes with having the lead of the race, so I don't think Tanaka was used to that. Kyle Gaffigan decides that his teammate has had enough of the spotlight and goes for the lead himself with pressure from Quiggles and Inola. Well, Gaffigan is certainly driving like a guy who's about to be fired. This is easily one of the best performances I've seen from him since Daytona, and he probably could have won that race if he hadn't bobbled in the last corner. I have heard that Bjorn Green, who won the inaugural championship in 1973, is looking to become a full-time team owner again, and Gaffigan's name came up as a candidate in the speculation that ensued. The first caution came out on lap 5 as Rybert Scott tags the back of Ashley Tucker coming out of turn 3. Tucker goes up into the wall and she does several rolls down the hill. Tucker, who won the second round of the Sarabai 300, is going to go out of the race in the opening laps. I don't think Rybert Scott was paying any attention at all. Here's the aerial shot, and Scott just kind of drifts over into the 57 as if he was thinking, I wonder if this car is a solid object. Oops, it is. Sorry. Tucker climbed out of her car unhurt, but this is probably the worst way you can possibly follow up a victory. Kyle Gaffigan led the entire field down pit road, but Gaffigan was caught for speeding and held in his pit stall. He would have to rejoin the field in the back. So a tough break for Kyle Gaffigan, but we're still very early into the race. And if his car is as fast as it has been all weekend, he could probably catch up. In the meantime, Carlo DiPreto is back in the lead with Shinji Tanaka chasing him. We're not too sure what DiPreto has planned for his future, but if he keeps driving like this, he may have many more options than just being a test driver for MRD. David Krikorian, who won the first round of the Sarabai 300 in dominant fashion, is struggling today, at least by his standards. He is currently in 23rd place, which is much lower than he and the Speed Vision team have been used to. I don't recall Krikorian ever being that great on road courses, though, so this is probably to be expected. Kyle Gaffigan is up to 32nd place. He got a little bit of help down the front stretch last time by from his teammate Joseph Howard, but Gaffigan now breaks away as Howard tries to deal with the traffic back there. So Gaffigan is certainly on the move right now. Lenore Scurry tries to make it 3 wide with Quiggles and Enola coming into the bend. She gets into the side of the Division by Zero car and flies across the track and takes Enola with her into the wall. Remember, that's the spot where that hill used to be, so if it was still there, that would have ended so much worse. 3 wide is not a very good idea going into that bend, but to her credit, I think Scurry actually jumped on the brakes as soon as she got into the grass. She gets into the side of Quiggles, and you hear her getting off the throttle and on the brakes, but there was no way she was going to get stopped before she came back across the track. I think there are a few other people on the grid that would try to keep on the gas and make a hero out of themselves. Harry Enola was an innocent victim in that wreck, and as he's limping away, Leslie Riggs, his teammate, slams into the back of him. That should probably be Enola's cue to get off the racing line. But either way, Enola is done for the day after a very promising start. Lenore Scurry was trying to redeem herself from her ill-fated 150 laps of Dwyer attempt. She crashes out after an overambitious move, but at least she used some kind of common sense and prevented it from becoming a much bigger accident. In the meantime, Carlo DiPreto continues to lead on the restart. Whoa, Bill Tissam and Jim Moore are off the course in the back. Shinji Tanaka is taking a look at DiPreto for the lead. Tanaka has a bit of a draft from Quiggles coming into the bend. He can't quite make it stick, but DiPreto is off the course, and Tanaka takes the lead anyway. Wow, that's something I would have expected from Tanaka if he were leading, but then again, DiPreto doesn't have too much experience with leading a race himself. That is, when he's gonna defend the lead from other people. Quiggles tries to take advantage of DiPreto's slip-up down the front stretch. Dejau looked like he was going to try to make it 3 wide, but he wisely backs off. But a few moments later, Tanaka has to pull off the track for an unscheduled pit stop. We believe that the 839 team cut a tire. However, this track is just a little bit over 3 miles long, so Tanaka is going to be able to get out of the pits without getting lapped. But Tanaka would get a quick caution. Coming into turn 3, Ramsey Cockiner hops the curb, pushes up into Laura Cyrus. That takes the both of them into the wall, and they go flipping. And Bill Tissam gets collected as well. That was a big impact for both Cyrus and Cockiner. It's a good thing those tire barriers were there. Let's go on board with Laura Cyrus, who has not had a DNF until today. And Cockiner just kind of slides up into her after hopping the curb. And that's obviously the end of that camera. That was a big, big hit for the 102. Cyrus was second in points coming into this race, and she had been slowly chipping away at Quiggles' points lead until now. I think Cyrus's left door smashed into the back of the 149 car. Cyrus did climb out of the car under her own power. and she appeared to be okay for the most part, but she was clutching her left hand, so we're a little bit concerned about that. This caution, again, will allow Shinji Tanaka to catch up to the field. Ebenezer Quiggles leads a number of cars down pit road, about half the field. I think everyone's good to go till the end on fuel, so I'm wondering if these cars are just coming in for fresher tires. Carlo DiPreto leads on the restart with Seiji Dejao behind him, and then the PSI teammates of Rip Tyler and Bigsby Foot are third and fourth. I think Dejao's easily got a top 5 car, but knowing him, I'm not too sure if he'll be able to keep it together. The reliability of the Kurt Walker cars is also very questionable. And here comes Kyle Gaffigan challenging Rip Tyler for third. Gaffigan has done a great job coming back from that speeding penalty, and I think he's easily got one of the fastest cars on the track right now as he makes mincemeat of Rip Tyler. Seiji Dejao continues to run second behind Carlo DiPreto, but he runs off the course and into the wall. Well, I wondered when he was going to throw away that good run. He's either going to be done in by mechanical failures or his own overexuberance. Well, Dejao loses several positions, and he's going to have to pit to repair that damage. And unfortunately, the native of Motegi will lose a lap doing so. This is going to give DiPreto a very comfortable lead over his teammate Kyle Gaffigan. But then we would get another caution on lap 22. Watch Zachary Sins. He hops the curb and shoves Jim Moore into Michael Madrigal, taking both cars into the wall and sending Madrigal into the path of Lawrence Burr, who coincidentally used to be the test driver of that 64 car before going to Griesberger. Let's have another look at this. Well, it seems that we haven't learned from that last wreck. Going 3 wide in turn 3 doesn't quite work out. Zins quite obviously hopped the curb and lost all of his grip, and then Burr just came barreling in, seeming to forget where the brake pedal was. Under the yellow flag, Nick Howard comes into the pits after he has a 9th place run going. I'm not too sure what he's trying to accomplish here. He's the only lead lap car to come into the pits at this time. Carlo DiPreto continues to lead after the restart. Gaffigan is second, and Shinji Tanaka has made his way back up to third. Rachel Rainsford is currently 5th, as you see Bigsby Foot and Andy Pearson go off the track towards the back. But Rachel Rainsford is, again, on her way to a top 10 finish. If she had been performing like this since the beginning of the season, she would have easily been in championship contention. But instead, she decided to wreck left and right up until the Mini Indy 500. But she has been doing a great job playing catch-up since then. I believe that Gravity Racing is seriously considering retaining her after this season. With a handful of laps remaining, Kyle Gaffigan comes after his teammate for the lead. There are obviously no team orders going on here at MRD, but this is bringing Shinji Tanaka up into the fight. And here comes Tanaka with a run around Gaffigan on the right side, and he will clear Gaffigan and take the second spot. Tanaka is driving for Star Team Nemoto, which is, interestingly enough, the team that MRD Motorsports team owner Tom Delgado drives for in the TM Master Cup Series. So it's Delgado's Cup team versus his ARLA team in the final laps. Well, I do recall Delgado once saying that he considers every team other than his own his enemy in this series, so I'm pretty sure he's rooting for his ARLA team. With just 4 laps to go, Leslie Riggs blows up from the 17th spot. Riggs has been doing the best she could with an ill-handling car, and it just gives up on her just a few laps from the end. Back up front, Shinji Tanaka has been chasing down Carlo DiPreto. DiPreto runs wide, giving Tanaka an opportunity. Kyle Gaffigan looks on from third, and I think he's going to try to give a bit of drafting help to his teammate, the 26. It's a drag race down the front stretch between DiPreto and Tanaka, but DiPreto does have the advantage with the 37 drafting behind him. This is probably the only time this season you'll have draft come into play on a road course. Tanaka has to check up coming into turn 1, giving DiPreto and Gaffigan the advantage. But now Gaffigan is coming after DiPreto for the lead with just a couple laps to go. But I don't think Gaffigan made it stick through turn 2. DiPreto opens his lead back up again. Shinji Tanaka now comes after Kyle Gaffigan once again. DiPreto is opening up his lead even more. Tanaka is still right there at the end of the backstretch, and it looks like he makes it stick. Tanaka slides into second once again. coming to the white flag. Tanaka tries to have another go at the 26. And there he goes to the inside. I'm not sure if DePreto is going to have enough draft from the 37 to keep the 839 at bay. Coming through turn number 1, Tanaka is definitely making it stick so far. If he can just outbrake DePreto in the next few corners, he'll be in good shape. Turns 2 and 3 have been very slick, but Tanaka clears him. The hard part for Tanaka was definitely getting by the 26. So I think he is in pretty good shape for the last half of this lap. This battle brought Kyle Gaffigan a little bit closer, but I don't think the MRD teammates are going to be able to mount a charge on Tanaka. Tanaka, of course, is only making his second start in the ARLA Elite Series, and he's adapted to these cars. Oh, he's off! And into the wall! Tanaka has just driven right off the course from the lead with just a few corners to go. That's gotta be gut-wrenching for Tanaka. We saw the same sort of thing from him at Motegi, where he would make it into the lead and then completely throw it away. And that's gotta be especially demoralizing when you do it right in front of your home crowd. But, in the meantime, Carlo DePreto inherits the lead, and he will come off of the final corner to take his first ARLA Elite Series victory. And Kyle Gaffigan would make it a 1-2 finish for MRD Motorsports. And I have a feeling that these two aren't done yet. We've got another road race coming up next week, the Tokyo Motorsports Stadium. Things finally start to go right for Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. again. He finishes in 3rd, Rip Tyler 4th, Joseph Howard makes it a 3rd MRD car in the top 5. Rachel Rainsford finishes 6th. That's another good run for her. Libby Bell is 7th. She drove a clean race in trying to redeem herself after last week, in which she ran into Rybert Scott twice. Speaking of Rybert Scott, he finishes in 8th, Bixby Foot 9th, and Shinji Tanaka. What a hard break for Tanaka, but he still salvages a top 10 finish. Now on to round number 2, where again, Namimura has taken the Cromwell Pole Award. Mura is another native of Motegi, like her teammate Seiju Dejiao. In fact, they grew up right down the street from each other. Anyway, Scott Dalit started on the outside of the front row, but Kiriki Hitsuno pounces on him, and now she's coming after the 39. If Hitsuno's gonna get a good run, she's going to need to do it herself, because we all know her engineers haven't been able to help her in these past couple of weeks. That's right, Hitsuno's gone out due to mechanical failures in the past 2 races. Anyway, Hitsuno can't make the move stick. Oh, Barton Sandy is way off the course in the back, and Scott Dalitz slides into 2nd. Now Dalitz is coming after Mura for the lead at the end of the first lap. Hitsuno is back to 3rd, and then you and your teammate Leg Ruel are 4th and 5th. Yeah, we both felt pretty good about our cars the whole weekend. Zenus has been gearing their teams more towards road course racing this year, and I think it shows. Well, in the meantime, Scott Dalitz is trying to clear Mura for the lead. I think he may have her out of turn 2. No, the 39 is battling back, and she gets a big run through turn 3. That 39 car won the championship in 2009 when Akira Tsukari was driving it, but that car hasn't had much luck ever since it went under the ownership of Kurt Walker. And now here comes Kiriki Hitsuno, making it 3 wide for the lead. Hitsuno is quite obviously trying to match the performance of her MRD teammates. Oh, and Mura goes off the course from the lead. And Le Gruel has gone off as well. In the meantime, this leaves Hitsuno and Dalitz to battle for the lead themselves. Wow, Gruel actually got into the wall and he loses a ton of positions. Dalitz has the 6 cleared through turn 2, so Dalitz takes over the lead in the Dalitz Performance car, the team owned by his own family. The Dalitz name is very well known in the American West. They own a very large kart supply business. Ryu Akuzaru is making his ARLA Elite Series debut for Ike Durbin Inc. In the 86 cars, a teammate to Mac Rylan. Akuzaru has spent most of his career in road racing, but he is currently running a rather dismal 23rd. Mac Rylan, on the other hand, is currently running in 13th. Rylan had a very scary incident at the Sarabai 300, in which he plunged directly into the catch fence at the end of the backstretch. Fortunately, Rylan was okay, and he's running pretty well in the opening laps, challenging Jennifer Goodwin and Makoto Yamada for position. He just weaves in between the two of them. Makoto Yamada's birthday was just this past week, so hopefully he can celebrate with a good run. Aoi Tanizaka is currently running in 8th place in just her second start. The S-Tech Autosport team owner and Japanese native is doing a very good job in the opening laps, but her employee, Jessica Graham, on the other hand, is running in 16th. I'm not sure what it could possibly mean if you are being outperformed by your team owner, but it probably couldn't hurt if Jessica Graham picked up the pace. Mac Ryland has to make an unscheduled pit stop due to a cut tire. However, Ryland immediately got a caution to help him out as Nikos Kostopoulos breaks down on the track, and his car stalls before he can pull it off to safety, so that's going to necessitate a yellow flag. Kiriki Hitsuno blows up under caution from second place. Hitsuno probably had a top 5 car just like the rest of her teammates in the first race, but unfortunately, this is going to be her 3rd DNF in a row due to mechanical failures. Namimura was hit with the speeding penalty on pit road, and so she'll have to go to the back of the field for the restart. Also, Lucas Sweeney suffered from a flat tire coming to the restart, so he'll have to pull in and get that changed, although he will not lose a lap. Remember how Mac Ryland had to pit right before that caution? Well, he got shuffled to the front after the rest of the field pitted, so this has worked out very well for him. Scott Dalitz remains in 2nd, and Jarko Forsström has made his way up to 3rd. Forsström's hardly done anything all season, but he got that top 10 at the Asarabai 300, and it looks like he might have an even better run today if he can keep it together. Jarko's brother Mikko competed in Formula Overdrive last year, and I recall him doing pretty well. But Ryland would come under attack from Scott Dalitz as Ryland runs turn 6 wide, and Dalitz pounces on him, so this puts Dalitz back in the lead. The second caution came out on lap 11 as AJ Young runs turn 2 wide and smacks the tire wall and spins in front of his teammate Derek Dudding. Not entirely sure why that necessitated a caution, but this certainly would have. A 4-wide situation off the final corner results in Alex Carson getting turned. Namimura sweeps back onto the track and collects Casey Campbell and Gavin DeGray. Philip Borland has nowhere to go but into the side of the 10 car. I know this track looks wide, but this isn't the type of place you want to be going 4 wide. It looks like Ben Atkins just kind of pushed over into Carson and Campbell, and Mura smashes into the end of that wall and bounces back up onto the track. It's a good thing she didn't collect anyone else. And you're going to see that Gavin DeGray in that brown car spun into the pit lane. Let's go on board with Mura, whose day ends early after starting on the pole. She gets knocked out into the grass, comes back onto the track, but Casey Campbell was there and she collected Gavin DeGray. And wow, DeGray almost clobbered the end of the pit wall. Let's have a look at this from DeGray, who was right behind this incident. He almost makes it through, but then he gets clipped by Mura, and he just barely missed that pit wall by inches. I think it's pretty safe to say that this could have easily been so much worse. Scott Dalitz continues to lead on the restart, but Mac Ryland is coming after him again, although turn 2 is very slick, so he can't make the move stick. Jarko Forsström takes advantage and moves into the 2nd spot. The Wiper Ildist Zero car won twice last year with René Recamere behind the wheel. Recamere moved into the TM Master Cup Series, but he recently lost his ride, and his Cup car has kind of become a revolving door ever since. Wiper Ildist is trying a similar thing with the 149 car after Gary D'Souza got the boot, which I don't really agree with since he got that win for them at Road America, but Ramsey Conkener is going to be in the 149 for a few races, and then they might give a couple other drivers a shot in that car. We get our 3rd caution right after the restart as Jennifer Goodwin turns Alex Carson into the wall, and that collected Holden Roberts in the 55 as well. The both of them go out of the race. Alex Carson, in particular, has had a really dismal past couple of weeks, and Starry Light, the sponsor on the 55 car, is reportedly fed up with Holden Roberts' poor performances. The engine goes on Taylor Brolin's 65 car, so she's done for the day. Scott Dalitz continues to lead on the restart with Forsström 2nd, but Edwin Schwartzlowski is coming after Forsström for that spot. We expected to see Schwartzlowski running pretty well today. He's spent just about his entire racing career on road courses. I do have to point out that the 2 wins he got last year weren't really on road courses. At least I don't count Waltham as a road course anyway. It's just a super speedway with a right-hand corner. We got another quick caution on lap 17 as Jason Teller drives right off the road in turn 6 and smashes into the tire wall. Oh, look out, here comes Derek Dudding, who just piles right into the 47. I know Jason's been struggling with his car all weekend. This whole season's been a bit of a struggle for him. I see that Philip Borland got clipped by Derek Dudding as Dudding smashed into the 47. So Borland's dismal day continues. But just in front of this incident, Ricky Navarro gets into the side of Barton Sandy to the 999. He checks up in turn 6 and then gets rear-ended by Bobby Porteau. Cars are going about 200 miles an hour coming into that bend. So this could have ended much, much worse. Although I'm sure Bobby Porteau disagrees. He had to drop out of the race. Edwin Schwartzlowski makes another go at Jarko Forsstrom after the restart, and I think he has the 0 cleared. Now he's coming after Scott Dalitz. But Dalitz, it looks like, is going to hold him off through turn number 2. And Jarko Forsstrom's trying to make his way back around the 66. Oh, but he runs turn 3 wide and cannot clear Schwartzlowski. Takumi Nagata also went off the road back there. And coming down the backstretch, Edwin Schwartzlowski takes over the 2nd spot, while Mac Rylan is still in the hunt. He tries to get Jarko Forsstrom for 3rd, but he can't quite do it this time. Schwartzlowski, a few moments later, would have another go at the lead. And it looks like he may have Dalitz coming through the final corner. This last part of the track has been a pretty good place to pass people if you can make a move stick. But it looks like Schwartzlowski doesn't quite have Dalitz cleared yet. He hasn't slid up in front of the 18 car, otherwise he would wreck himself. But now Dalitz moves in behind the 66. It looks like he might have been thinking about a crossover move, but Schwartzlowski now has the lead of the race. Yevgeny Kuznetsov is coming after Makoto Yamada for 5th. Kuzi spent most of the first round of the Sarabai 300 stuck in the pit lane while his pit crew tried to repair the car, but to no avail as he failed to finish. However, he is faring much better this time around. Oh, you see Jacob Eichholz in the 231 in the pit lane there. He had a mechanical problem, and his crew spent a couple laps trying to fix it. Scott Dalitz remains in 2nd, trying to chase Edwin Schwartzlowski back down. Oh, they both run turn 6 wide, and Jarko Forsstrom pounces on them. Forsstrom now takes the lead. Oh, look out, here comes AJ Young to spoil the fun. He holds up Schwartzlowski and Dalitz. And here come Kuzi and Rylan. Kuznetsov says, "I'll be taking the 2nd spot, thank you very much." Just in time for the next caution as Takumi Nagata drives straight off of turn 6 and acquaints himself with the tire wall. Nagata is driving for Hibiki Sport, the same team that Kiriki Hitsuno drove for in the Nippon Open Wheel Tour and got a couple wins with them. And unfortunately, Earl, here you are going out of the race due to a suspension failure, and I was running pretty well too. But still, you were able to hop out of your car and join me in the booth to call the rest of the race. Though you were still in your suit, I can't say that was a very pleasant smell. I'm sorry, I forgot to apply my deodorant during my last pit stop. Anyway, Jessica Graham has her inevitable mechanical failure and goes out of the race as well. Jarko Forsstrom continues to lead on the restart with Yevgeny Kuznetsov and Edwin Schwartzlowski breathing down his neck. Schwartzlowski is now coming after Kuzi for 2nd. But again, it's hard to make a move stick in turn 2 like that, and Kuzi gets a big run on Jarko Forsstrom, and he's going to sweep by the 0 without much of a problem, so Kuznetsov now takes the lead. I'm not sure what kind of fan base Kuzi has over here in Japan, but I know that many of the American fans watching this on TV are going to be very happy. Kuznetsov is surprisingly popular in the States. But Jarko Forsstrom now gets a run on the 82 coming down the front stretch, but he has to check up in turn 1. Kuzi keeps the lead, and this is going to bring Edwin Schwartzlowski closer to the 0 car. Now Schwartzlowski has a run on Forsstrom. Can he make it stick through turn 2? No, he can't. But Scott Dalitz is making his way up through the field again, and here he comes after Jarko Forsstrom for 2nd. He got set back after being held up by AJ Young, but he's still got a very fast car. Now will he make the move stick through turn 6? He clears the 0, and here he comes after Yevgeny Kuznetsov. He's got a really big run. He's making it seem like they're not even there. Oh, but here comes AJ Young once again. It looks like Young doesn't know where he wants to go. He holds up Kuznetsov. Schwartzlowski gets by for 2nd. Well, that's got to be devastating for Kuznetsov to get held up by an extremely slow car with just a handful of laps to go. And he's going to end up all the way back in 6th place. But we all know that his car is capable of so much more than that. But in the meantime, Scott Dalitz maintains a very comfortable lead over Edwin Schwartzlowski on the white flag lap. Dalitz has spent most of his life around the tuner community, and that paint job he's got on his car is the exact same scheme that he runs in drifting competitions. In fact, he also drives a Nemoto in both drifting and in ARLA. You might say that drifting isn't a real motorsport, and it's just controlled ruining of your tires, but Scott Dalitz proves his talent as both a drifter and a stock car driver by taking his first ARLA Elite Series victory at the Saitama 200. Edwin Schwartzlowski finally scores his best finish of the season after a year of struggles for M&J Racing as a whole. I think Kevin Monroe's victory at California has given that team a bit of momentum. Jarkko Forsström scores his best career finish. Aoi Tanizaka scores the best finish for that team this season. That should be a wake-up call to Jessica Graham, although to be fair to Graham, her engineers have really been failing her this season. Yevgeny Kuznetsov comes back to finish 5th after getting, well, screwed over by AJ Young. Mac Ryland finishes 6th after his unscheduled pit stop worked out brilliantly for him. Lucas Sweeney is 7th despite having to make an unscheduled pit stop himself. Makoto Yamada, after celebrating his birthday just a few days earlier, finishes 8th. Calvin Arailer 9th. And Lake Ruel salvages a top 10 finish for the Zenith Factory team. Now let's take a look at the point standings leaving the Saitama 200. Ebenezer Quiggles Jr. opens his point lead up to 103 points over Laura Cyrus after Cyrus crashed. We're pretty sure that Cyrus will be back in the 102 next week, though. Yevgeny Kuznetsov moves up to 3rd. Eric Jackson is 4th, and Bigsby Foot and Leslie Riggs are in a tie for 5th after Leslie Riggs blew her engine late in the first round. It's very unfortunate to see that happen after the stellar season that she's had. Rip Tyler is 7th, David Krikorian 8th, Todd Stater moves up into 9th, and Andy Pearson is 10th. Tiffany Matthews and Rachel Rainsford are tied for 11th, Robert Scott is 13th, Zachary Zinn's 14th, Joseph Howard 15th. Alex Carson continues to fall through the point standings. He is 16th. Herbie Finkelberg is 17th. Lane Cranston moves up into the top 20, and so does Kevin Monroe. And Ashley Tucker, despite winning at Motegi last week, has fallen to 20th after going for those rolls today.